Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. Now, first of all, I think there's a delay here. Hopefully the audio and video is okay. I know there's a sync issue that I cannot fix for whatever reason. Anyway, I'm Daver. I'm a fragrance bro. Welcome to the channel. We're doing a live Q&A with Christian Petrovich, the owner of Argos. Now, before I introduce anything, I have questions open. You can leave a comment and you can ask some questions, but let's go ahead and get straight to it. Thank you for watching. All right. As I said, we have the owner of Argos Fragrances here on the channel here. He is notorious for being a lion tamer and a world-renowned swimmer in the ocean. These are all things I'm just making up. But we also want to know his workout routine because dude is stacked. And rumor has it that he gives full-size Snickers on Halloween. So if you will, please give it up for Christian Petrovich from Argos. Thank you for coming on.
Hello, everybody. Hey, Dave, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah. Now, I found out about Argos through Instagram. And so I am thrilled to have you on, first of all. But I was wondering if you could give maybe a kind of an overview of what your perspective is for your line and all that.
Sure, of course. And again, the audio, trying to hear you the best I can, lip reading, but thank goodness for Instagram and social media, especially with the last 2 years with COVID and boutiques and stores kind of being closed and open and closed and open. It's really given newer brands a platform to get known and get out there and get some notoriety and get our images out and videos, and then talking with fragrance influencers and other people as well, just to get some brand awareness. So we do appreciate Instagram and everybody on there sharing our message and videos and their stories with the brand as well. So originally, just to kind of make it real quick for time, I got into fragrances back in 2014, initially doing just private label bespoke fragrances for other people. And then fast forward a few years, I know this is skipping a lot of in between, a lot of hard work, sweat, tears, and learning. Launched the brand publicly in December of 2017, came out with the Pour Homme and the Pour Femme. Those were pretty much the inaugural releases. So 2018 was really the official release when we had the website up and we were actually going live with selling. And that was kind of the birth of the Instagram page and everything as well. And then fast forward again, Christmas of 19 was the pre-release for the latest 3 releases that we have out now that everybody's come to know and love is the Triumph of Baccus, Baccus Immortal, and the Provida Delicacia. So that was kind of the push more into the luxury niche, more nuanced fragrances with the latest 3 releases.
Yeah. I really love your perspective. One of the things that really initially got me, and I think this is on purpose by design, were your bottles. And I have a few different bottles here, and here's Triumph of Baccus right here. Just gorgeous bottles. What was the process of the design for this bottle? I mean, it looks like it took a lot of work.
Yeah, I wanted something that was epic, something that was monolithic, something that would, the brand, as you will know, the aesthetic and the message and everything that we're putting out. It's not, I know there's a big push, especially in the US, for minimalism and just really, contemporary minimalism design. But I really, feel that fragrance in itself is something out there to, it's just something to behold, something to smell, something to see, something to experience with the unspoken eye or unspoken word. And I really wanted to convey that through and through with not just the fragrances, but the bottling and the packaging and the messaging and everything about it. It's something substantial. I mean, you think of Greek mythology and everything. This was something that's been around for centuries. It's woven into our DNA, and other religions as well have played off of Greek mythology. And it's just been something it's been, always will be, and it's just going to be around long after all of us, really. So back to the bottle design, I know I had the original cube design, which was, was kind of my first tiptoe into launching the brand publicly myself. So I played it a little bit safe with those first 2 bottles. I think they're beautiful as well, and they still have that Argos logo on the front. But really going for what I wanted with that high-end luxury niche quality look. You can't have a high quality fragrance with all the expensive oils and everything and all the hard work that I put into it and not have the packaging and the bottle and everything else to back it up. So I was able to design that bottle over the course of a year. I've got a 3D printer and I worked with another engineer. We came up with the bottle design, and it was really kind of to get that imagery of that Greek column, that upright, strong, bold column. So that was really the design. I thought about putting the striations and everything in it as well, but it was just, it didn't play in with the plate, recessed plate area on the front. And I knew I needed to have that because of the artwork that I was going to be coming out with and some of the unique spin-offs with the brand that we'll talk about as well. So this allows me some freedom with the artwork that I can put on the front plate, plus releasing exclusive brands with other partners around the world that are in the works.
Yeah. I mean, you guys did such an amazing job. I mean, it really is top tier quality for the
that bottle weighs over a pound. So
yeah, it must cost like $50 to ship.
When you get to a certain point, it doesn't matter. So why not go for the moon?
Now that actually brings me to the artwork too. I think the artwork is also equally stunning on the boxes. I mean, everything that you've done here, I think, is great. Now, the artwork for these, are these based on existing pieces of art, or is it just something that is maybe your interpretation of something?
Yeah. It's definitely based on arts of antiquity. I was a big, huge, I really, when I was younger, I wanted to be an archaeologist until I figured out there wasn't a lot of money in it. And then I was an art major in college for a little while before I got into med school. But I never lost that love for art history and Greek mythology, and I was just able to marry those two when I created the line of Argos fragrances. And so, those artworks that you see on the front, now they have been altered somewhat. There's little hidden things in there that won't reveal themselves till down the road when I decide to talk about them and let them be known. But especially with the newer line that's coming out, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but we're using artworks, but we're changing some of the backgrounds, changing some of the little details, little subtleties, but it all makes sense and it comes back full circle with the message that I'm trying to convey with each fragrance, because as some of you may know, each fragrance is based on a Greek mythology, a legend, a story. And I really want to bring you into that scenario, into that scene and setting, and have you experience full circle 3D, HD, 4K, whatever, what that message was for that Greek mythology story.
Yeah. So I'd like to maybe briefly go over some of your fragrances here. And I know that one of the popular ones out there, especially now that it's cooling down with the weather here, is Triumph of Baccus. And I love this one. This is, I know, one of my favorites. Maybe if you could tell us maybe if there's a story behind it, or what you get out of the notes and that kind of thing.
There's a lot of stories about this one. This one was actually one it was made years ago, and it was one that I had just worked on tirelessly for so long on it. I think it was one of those situations where you just overdo it. And I hated it at one point. It was just, the more I worked on it, the less I liked it. And at one point it smelled like wart remover. And it was just like, certain smells bring you back to certain things. And I remember 5 years old, I had a little one on my hand, and I had that little white stuff that it sloughs off. And I was like, man, why am I thinking of that when I'm thinking of this? And, I was one of those things, I put it away for a couple years, and then I brought it back out, went back to the notes, went back to several different variations, went back to one of the first 5 variations of it. And I was like, man, this matured, I don't know, something about it. I was like, I think I just overdid it. And I just rediscovered this fragrance, brought it back out of the fridge, worked on it just a little bit, and I got it ready. And, everything about it had changed, the look, the color. And some of you have noticed too, and I've had people comment, hey, the color's gotten redder, it's gotten darker, it's gotten richer. And I was like, yeah, when you use the quality oils and the ingredients that we're able to use, it's just going to get better with time. So, and another story behind this one too, when I was first trying to introduce this to just certain people in my circle, unbeknownst to them, I'll pull out a scent. That's one of the things. If you're around me, you're just gonna have to get used to me whipping out a couple of scents, and it's nice to get that initial reaction and response. And I'll never forget the first time I took that Triumph of Baccus out to one of this really respected jeweler friend of mine who's into fashion. And I really respect his opinion. That first time he smelled it, he's like, "Man, that is terrible," and I was just devastated. I was like, "Wow," and that just goes to show some people don't know what the heck they're talking about. So, just keep on doing what you want to do as long as you're happy and impressed with what you're able to do, and it's to the capacity that you want to set it out to the world, that it's probably going to be pretty good. Yeah. So I disregarded that that opinion altogether. Went through with the release, added that one in as kind of a late release with those three back in 19 around Christmas time, because I had the Bovita Delicaccia. It was locked in, and Baccio. Those were for whatever reason, those were easier for me to make than me going back to this one and kind of working on an earlier version of it. So that's the backstory of the Triumph of Baccus. It was really a triumph for me to get this one released, as we all know and love it today.
Yeah, I'm glad you released it, because I think everyone's glad.
I am too. It's really, and I joke about it when I say it's the gateway drug into the Argos brand. But it's just the one that we've kind of focused on just because people have gravitated towards it. And there's a lot of reasons behind that. The color of the juice, the gold cap, the notes, the way it can be unisex, leaning. It's just a universally loved fragrance. So it's really done well for us internationally. And it's got the brand out there. I love it, and everybody else does too. So yeah, it's worked out well.
And for those who haven't tried it, this is I would describe it as a sweet, gourmand tobacco type of scent. There's vanilla in there. There's some fruit in there. Of course, tobacco. It's excellent, especially in the warmer, cooler weather. It's really, really good.
Yeah. And how many tobacco fragrances do you know that are unisex?
Yeah.
That women can wear too.
Mm-hmm. It really is unisex. It is great in that way. All right. Yeah. Now, what about Baccus Immortal?
Yeah, the Baccus Immortal, again, that was one of those that was kind of a home run. What I did was, it was a little smokier at one point. It had a rose note that was pretty prominent in it as well. But there was a lot of rose ouds out there, and a lot of heavier ouds. And my style, and once you get familiar with the Argos brand, you're going to see a little bit of the same DNA through and through with these fragrances and kind of the style of our scents. But I was messing around with these. I had about 7 or 8 different raspberry notes, and I just hit on this one that was it was so realistic. It was so juicy, tart. It really encapsulated the theme that I was really shooting for. I really wanted a leather-based fragrance that wasn't animalic, that was something that was unisex, that women could wear. You could wear it in the summer. You could wear it in the winter. It had just a touch of oud. And, I wanted something that would play into the story. And I wanted to have Cupid and Psyche, just kind of symbolizing that it was for men and it was for women. It was a unisex scent that both men and women could wear. But it had that kiss, that sweet kiss. And that was what the raspberry gave to the Baccus Immortal, which means kiss of immortality. And, it was just, I fell in love with it instantly.
Yeah. I think this is another big hit. I see this a lot on Instagram as well. And it's
we haven't really, we haven't put it out there like the Triumph of Baccus. I'm big into SEO and the metrics and the demographics and who's interested. It was another one of those things that, as a new business owner, not going to the traditional channels, when Essence was shut down back in 2020, we were supposed to, it was 2020 already. We've been dealing with this COVID for 2 years. But, when that was shut down, I had several other plans to travel to France, obviously Italy, and then a few other countries as well, to kind of like do the world tour to get the Argos brand out there, promote it to boutiques and stores. You had to refocus on your branding and your website and your distribution, your logistics, and all that stuff you had to learn that wasn't part of the initial plan. So it's just one of those things that I really watch who's into what, and we really just focused on the Triumph of Baccus just because it's just so universally accepted, and it's just eye candy. But the Baccio is a beautiful fragrance. Like I said, my wife can wear it. I can wear it. It smells slightly different on us both, but it's beautiful. She'll get compliments in it, and I'll get compliments wearing it. So that's a rare feat in itself for a unisex leather-based fragrance. And again, we talked about the tobacco unisex. You don't get a lot of tobacco unisex fragrances. You don't get a lot of leather-based unisex fragrances either. So there was another thing that I really wanted to focus on, that universal acceptance of the fragrance too, especially such a beginning stage of the brand. Obviously competing against brands that have been around for a decade, 20, 30, 40, well, Creed, you're talking hundreds of years here. So, it was one of those things. It was there by design.
Yeah. This is another one I think is really classy too. Like I really like you said, it really is a great unisex leather. It has that perfect amount of the raspberry in there. It's so good. Really, really good. All right. I think this one is an underdog, I think, to me. Brevito della Caccia. What about this one?
And thank you for not butchering it.
That's rare for me.
But, this is my personal favorite of the three. It's more masculine. It's got great sillage. It's perfect. It is strong. This is something that, if you're in a group or a board meeting or something and you want to be the power player, this is the one you want to wear. If you want to come into a room and you want to turn heads and make a bold statement, the Bravida della Caccia, the thrill of the chase. Everything about this, the story is sexy, it's masculine, it's guttural, it's earthy, it's green. There's so many subliminal things going on with this fragrance that just a lot of people haven't discovered it yet. And I think part of it is because, here in the United States, especially, fragrance is part of society, of course, but it's not like the Middle East. It's not like Europe, where it's been an integral part. I think it's more for the experienced nose, someone who's had, they'll put their toe into niche perfumery before, and they want to explore. It's a stronger fragrance, especially with that mate and that juniper berry and that sharpness. But to make a fragrance that was still bright and still bold and still green and still, some people say, I love this in the summertime. You don't get a lot of leathers that are this bold and heavy that you can wear in the summertime in the hotter months. But it's my personal favorite of the three.
And I think you said that, don't you wear this the most out of your line?
Out of the current ones that are out there, the Bravida della Caccia is the one I wear the most, especially when I'm wearing a suit.
Yeah, it's perfect for that. Yeah. I love this one. Like you said, to me, I really like how masculine it is. I really love that. I love the smoky vetiver leather combo. And when I smelled the line, I got samples of it a while back, and this is one I was like, whoa, this is really good. So this is one I think that is it needs to be talked about more, because
we're going to get to that, and I love the story about it too. People are like, what? Where are you coming up with this? I was like, these aren't my stories. This is actual Greek mythology, Roman mythology. But this is my interpretation of it through a fragrance that, at the time, the hunter going through the woods. So you're thinking woods, you're thinking, he's hunting. So you're getting the leather. And it's just a real raw animalic story. And I don't think of this as animalic, as difficult, or anything like that. I think of it as animalistic, and the attractiveness, the quality that this fragrance has. I think when you wearing this in a setting, it gives you that confidence. It gives you that feeling that you're attractive. And it is attractive. I've had so many people ask me about this one when I wear it.
Now, I think that's all from the Italian line. Am I right?
And so, I thought about the names too. A lot of people had a difficult time saying the names, except for the Triumph of Baccus. I think a lot of people had an easier time with that. So going forward, are the names going to be as long or as difficult? Probably yes and no. I think it's very cool to have the story and the conversation, and it's fun to hear people try and pronounce some of the names. Some of the ones coming up, and if you want to lead into the newer ones coming in, they're going to be more singular names. because we have lines that are coming out. One of them is going to be the artist line. So still sticking with the Greek Roman mythology theme, but we're really focusing on like the artistic side and creativity side, and focusing on some of the art masters in history who have been inspired by Greek and Roman mythology, and they've painted great works based on those stories. And I really wanted to, since I'm already making fragrances based on the story, I wanted to kind of marry that artwork, my interpretation of the artwork, and the fragrance, and kind of meld those all together. So I'm really excited to get at least one release out this year. I mean, this year was just it was insane. I had 4, honestly, that were in the later stages, 3 that had already been for 6 months, ready to actually release before Hurricane Ida hit, and I had a very, very large 40-foot cargo container get damaged, and pretty much everything was destroyed and unsalvageable. I'm getting a phone call. I hope you're not hearing that. Are you still there? Let me shut this phone down.
Oops. Hello? I don't know what happened. Something happened. But we're back. At least I'm back. I'll wait for Christian here. There's always something. All right, let's see here. Hold on one second here. There we go.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Apologize. I got 3 phones set up here at DHL. I'm waiting on all these shipments coming in, so they're calling me, and we wear many hats here.
So the last thing you were talking about was how you had 4 fragrances in the works and you got delayed.
Okay, so we had 3 fragrances that I was really going to push to release by October at the latest. Had a 40-foot cargo container coming in. I had fragrances been mastering, blending for 6 months. They were perfect, ready to go. And then Hurricane Ida hit here in the United States, and I had a 40-foot cargo container basically get destroyed. Everything inside of it was just tousled around, and it's gone. So luckily, I did have smaller batches going here in Dallas, Texas. So I am going to release one of the new line in November. So that's going to be coming up real soon. We do have a newsletter that we were putting out every month, and then we kind of put it on hold because I didn't know what we were going to be announcing with the new ones that I kind of teased on later this spring. And now that we know about Danye, I'll release in the newsletter coming up when that's going to be available. I do want to make that available to current customers, the patrons that have purchased and been on this Argos journey from the beginning, the people that are subscribed to the newsletter. So pay attention to that, because you're going to have an opportunity to get it before it sells out. This will be a limited release this Christmas, and then I don't know when it's going to. We'll make more eventually next year, but it's another shipment that's got to come in. I have a lab over in Nice, so I'm part of a co-op with other perfumers, and we're able to get some of our ingredients there, able to buy it in bulk just because we have that volume. We're basically networking and buying together, but it's seasonal, and we buy in bulk. So once you miss that, then you got to wait till the next one comes around, and who else is going to also need some of the same ingredients as well. So we're working on it. Danye is going to be out next month, so watch for the newsletters for that. If you're in Dallas at the Scent Room, we're probably going to have a launch party either at probably not Thanksgiving weekend. It'll probably be the first week of December. So we'll announce that as well.
That's really cool. And is this the fragrance that you've been teasing on Instagram with the bottles?
Yeah, we put up just a short little montage of videos, just moving it around. I just put it up in the windows because I wanted to, part of it is the look, and you'll understand the look of the juice, how it plays into this story as well. If you want, I can talk about the first one.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're staying with the same bottle style, but what's different about this one? Again, this will be the first one as part of the artist series. So we're focusing on an artist, Gustav Kimlet, and one of his artworks was called Danye. and how that relates into the Argos in the Greek mythology. It's basically the quintessential love story from back in the day, from Roman and Greek mythology. And everybody knows about Zeus and his transgressions and what a bad boy he was. But how this plays into the story of Argos really is the king of Argos at the time went to the oracle, and the oracle had told him and foreseen his future that his grandson was going to come into power when he grew up, and he was going to basically kill him and overtake his kingdom. So he didn't want that to happen. So he put his daughter Danae up into the castle tower, never to meet any men or suitors or anything like that. But Zeus happened to see her, fell in love, and came down as this ray of light. Some would say golden shower. It's kind of an X-ray risque story, but I love the romanticism about Greek mythology. How that whole Italian Renaissance took it, and Versailles and French art. They really romanticized Greek and Roman mythology. So the first one is going to be called Danae, and we're basing it off of Gustav Kimlet's painting of Danae. So I don't know how well you can see this, but this is the color of the juice. So it's got that dark amber look. And we have this new artwork plate, and you'll see the color. And I'll release some high resolution images on Instagram and Facebook. We do have some crystals that are inlaid as well. And we've also upgraded the cap. So I'm going to do something really dangerous here. So yeah, we upgraded the cap. It's full metal now. It's a matte gold. It's a beautiful gold. It's not rose gold. It's not 22 karat gold. It's a unique gold that's going to be unique to the new releases of Argos. It's not something that anybody's going to be able to counterfeit and reproduce. And again, the new catches, we've got horizontal, vertical catches on the inside of the cap. We've got the logo, the eye of Ra on the inside of the cap. On the inside, you flip it over. We've got the ring around the collar now, so it's got that ring catch too. And we've upgraded the new atomizers as well on the 100 mLs, just like we did on the 30 mL. So you're going to get that pressurized, controllable spray with that fine mist. So, there's a lot of new upgrades, and that's one of the things, just being the owner and being a smaller brand, we listen to what people say, and we care about the experience from the box, the packaging, the branding, obviously the bottles, the sprayers, the caps, and everything that go into it. So we're able to modify these things as we go and kind of work on the fly, because we're not producing hundreds of thousands of these, and we're kind of stuck with what we got. It is more expensive to do that, of course. You're getting lower volumes, and it's a custom product. Even that plate with the color, it's hand painted. So what basically happens is we get these plates, we make a mold, and we make these plates, and then they're hand painted, and then they're put in a kiln to bake and cure. And that's what basically hardens that paint, that enamel. So, and then after that, we hand drill the holes for the crystals to be inlaid into the frame of it. So it's a lot of work going into these. These really are a work of art in themselves. And when you're able to try this fragrance, and we're going to try to get the sample packs upgraded too, to add the new fragrance into the sample pack, hopefully by mid-November, so people can actually purchase not just the 5, but get that 6th one in there, that Danae, and experience that as well before they try it. But this is going to be one that's going to sell out. This one is my new favorite one.
I can't wait.
So, and you'll see why, and you'll understand the story behind this when you smell it. It might as well be called the essence of Zeus. This is a beautiful fragrance. Okay, this will give you an unforeseen advantage in any situation when you're wearing this, whether it's confidence, whether it's something that you want to have as a talking focal point, or something when you're with a group. But it's a beautiful fragrance, and I'll just say that it really is. And hopefully you'll be able to get to try it soon too. As soon as I get some more of the bottles in and make some more of these plates, because again, they do take a while to make, we'll get one over to you so you can try it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm down for that.
Yeah, see, I can talk about this all day, but it's a beautiful story, and it just so happens that the child of Zeus and Danae is Perseus. And we all know Perseus from Clash of the Titans and Medusa, and so it's going to lead down to some other things in the future as well, with some of the other fragrances and some of the other subjects that we're going to introduce with later fragrances. So I can't wait to release this one, the first one of the artist series. Another thing too that's great about it is we're putting more of the information on the inside of the bottle. It's going to be kind of hard to see, but we'll have the name, obviously the Argos logo, plus a little bit more information about the fragrance on the inside of the bottle. So not only, you know, before we coated it, because I didn't want any bumpy, and I didn't want anything that wasn't beautiful on this bottle. And now we're just even upgrading it a step further by putting more information on the inside of the bottle itself.
Man, that's so cool. I love hearing that someone is constantly trying to improve the bottles or brand or presentation or whatever. I love seeing that, because too often I see brands that are decreasing quality and
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
it's not a money grab. It's not a gimmick. This is really something that I'm passionate about. And it's something that is going to improve with every future release, guaranteed, because we do listen, you know, we hear what people say. So if there's something that I can do to make it better and improve that experience, it's something that we're going to try to do.
Now, I know that recently, speaking of upgrades, you recently upgraded the Pour Femme and Pour Homme bottles. And I guess that's a good segue to talk about that line.
Sure, yeah. You know, we're going to keep the OG original Pour Homme and the Pour Femme. You know, we get a lot of great feedback. People reordering it. It's great. And again, I played it safe with those two first releases, but they're beautiful. You know, they're a part of my every day. That Pour Homme is just a quick grab. It's a freshie with great citruses and great woody depth, a little muskiness in there. It's just one of those universal fragrances that you don't even have to think about. So, you know, just to bring everything into the line and tie it in and aesthetically make it a little bit more on point, we're upgrading it to the new bottle style, just like the Triumph of Baccus, same bottle style. And it's going to get the plate. So basically what you see in the 30 ml with that, I don't know if you have the crystal in the eye on your version.
No, I don't.
Okay, so everything coming out now will have crystals. So here is the Pour Homme 30 ml, and it does have the crystal in the eye of Ra on the front plate and on the cap as well. Very reflective, so it's hard to see right now. But basically this 30 ml will be the exact same for the 100 ml. We're upgrading the sprayer atomizer on there as well, plus the crystal dip tube. So after that first initial spray, when the air is out of the tube, you won't see it. It will hardly be visible at all. We're going to be putting on the 100 mLs, we're going to be putting the information also on the back side of the plate for that one. And it's just going to be something that's going to be part of the line, I think, through and through. It's not going to ever go out of style. You know, that's part of the timelessness of this brand and the whole design. It's like I said, the stories have been around. These fragrances are timeless fragrances too. This isn't something that's just going to be, you know, that was a great fragrance 2 or 3 years ago. This is something that's going to be relevant long down the road.
Yeah. I think that the Pour Homme and Pour Femme are super easy to wear. They're really easy to reach for just about any time. I think those are excellent fragrances. You know, definitely don't skip on these guys.
Yeah. And, yeah, the quality's there. I mean, the quality is still that same quality Argos. You're going to get, it's eau de parfum. So you're going to get, you know, the same range of longevity. These aren't going to be your typical designer or lower quality niche fragrances that just fade off after the top note, and they're just a skin set after an hour. No, these are substantial fragrances, quality fragrances through and through. They're just a little safer, that's all. It's a good introduction, I think, into the brand. If you're someone that's typically into designer and this is a new thing for you, it's a great place to start.
I got there's a comment from someone called the Scent Cloud, says, as a man, Argos Pour Femme is an amazing scent.
Yeah.
So I think that's really a testament to
yeah, and I have a lot of men that wear that one as well. I love it. I love smelling it. When my wife sprays it, I can smell it in the other room. It's got a great scent cloud, and it's just a great scent. And I can see why guys would like to wear that and just have that scent around them. I do have another fragrance along somewhat of a similar DNA for that. That's a little more masculine. That'll be coming down the road. I'm working on the story and a lot of these fragrances, they take at least 2 years to make. So a lot of it's just the stability and seeing how it matures after it's macerated for a few months. So these aren't something that I can just whip up and just put out there. Even if it is something that I do like, there's a lot of back and forth with the lab, stability, reliability, validity. It's just like, you can't just put something out there, because once it's out there, you can't take it back.
We got a question from someone named GV that says, "Are you planning to make anything based on Prometheus?" Kind of cool to make something fiery.
Yeah, something spicy, something warm. I've been working with some honeys now and some chocolate notes, and it's coming. It's coming. It's just I don't ever want to get in a situation where I've got 7 and I want to put out there and just bang, 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 put these out there. Each one of these takes some time to digest and understand the story and the process behind it. And really, when you put something out that's quality like this, it's something that you're going to enjoy wearing. I want people to enjoy this and understand it and kind of digest it for a while before I put out another one. There's no reason for me to put out a ton of fragrances every year. I have enough that I've been working on in various stages that I could probably do that, but they each need their own time in the sunlight and to shine for a little bit. And there's a cycle too. It takes the community a while to catch on as well. Even when the Triumph of Baccus came out, it took a good 3-4 months for the fragrance community to pick it up, see some images, ask questions, and then people were starting to buy it, and then then the word caught out there, and then slowly the other ones as well, the Baccus and the Bravito. So that one, Prometheus, I love the story behind Prometheus. I love the interaction with some of the other. He's kind of that trickster. He was really one of the Titans, really, before Zeus and his siblings took over Olympus. So it is a cool story. He's one of them that kind of Zeus brought back into the fold. He's kind of that trickster god. It gives man fire, who disobeys, and then he has that story where he gets his liver eaten out every night. It regenerates, and it comes. It's just so much. And Hercules is involved in releasing him. There's so many stories that involves Prometheus and some of the other things that we're going to be talking about down the road. I'm also releasing a line with Hercules based on the 12 labors. So yeah, Prometheus will definitely see his time in the sun.
That's cool. I think that's really cool. I'm sure that there is no shortage of inspiration from Greek and Roman mythology.
This will never get tiring for me. I could talk about this all day. And the various stories. That was one of the problems I had when I was thinking about the 12 labors of Hercules. I was thinking, how many stories involving Hercules alone? I could go way past the 12 labors. Just that one that I described with Prometheus. That wasn't typically part of one of the 12 labors. That was on the way to getting one of the 12 labors, resolved. But it was like, man, he has a ton of stuff and material just on him. How can I stick to just the 12? But that's another thing with the artist line. He can always have another fragrance based on Hercules in one of his adventures in one of the artist series. One of the artists I definitely want to visit is Rubens. I mean, I love Rubens' work. When we get to the Hercules line, some of the people will recognize the artwork, and they might question the artwork that I chose for the cover of the packaging for that one. And I tell some people too, that people ask, do you really believe in worship Greek God? No, I don't. But it is great to, it's interesting to think, at one point in time, everybody, that was the religion, that was the truth for them in their day. So with Rubens, I was able to actually use Samson and the lion story and kind of integrate that with Christianity and bring that into the fold a little bit. Not saying that that's something that I'm going down, but it was cool that I was able to integrate a little bit of Christianity, Roman mythology, Greek mythology with some of the artwork, and it totally relates. It's kind of, and I could talk all day about how the two religions are kind of commingled and how one phased out and one came in, and some of the similarities in some of the stories, anyways. And that's a all day conversation
Oh,
as well.
there's a. Let's see. I'll answer a couple of questions I know the answer to. Let's see. Abdel Sarkis has asked any vetiver heavy fragrance in the collection. And definitely Bravito Delicata is one that I would suggest if you're looking for a vetiver fragrance. That one is an excellent vetiver, leather, smoky fragrance. Abdel, I think that's excellent. So definitely check that one out. And then Derek Blake asks, it says, I'm hearing there's a tobacco fragrance by this brand. Would love to try that one. I'm a sucker for tobacco fragrances. Yes. So the one that you're thinking of is Triumph of Baccus. And that one is an amazing gourmand, fruity vanilla ambery tobacco that's excellent, excellent, excellent. One of their stars in their line. So definitely check that out. And you guys also sell samples on your website too. So it should be pretty easy for people to get samples of these.
Yeah, we do get a lot of messages for people saying that, I wish I could try, this one or that. But we do have the sample pack that includes all 5 of our current releases. As I was telling you, we're trying to get the Danier one into the sample pack in November, in mid-December, or mid-November before the actual release. So people can try that one out before purchasing a full bottle. So yeah, the sample pack that's what it's there for. We don't always recommend that you go out and buy the full bottle. I mean, that'd be great, and I think you're going to enjoy it and love it. But everybody's tastes are different. That's part of the unique thing about this line of work is everybody's got their own preferences and opinions, and it's check out the sample pack. That's there for a reason. If you do get the sample pack, there's usually a card in there that if you want to do a full purchase, you have an option of actually getting that sample pack free, basically, if you buy a full bottle. So it's really, if you find something that you like and enjoy and want to purchase, you've got that sample pack free, basically.
That's really cool. I think that's a really great move.
Yeah, and another side note too, and some people have asked too about, because the hot topics, sustainability and recycling and stuff. So we're actually working on a program now. We just launched the Argos Points Rewards program. So it's something that you're automatically enrolled into if you place an order. We're going to announce more of the details on that in the next newsletter. So your purchases, you're going to get points and rewards back that you can use on future purchases. We're also working on a program where this beautiful bottle and all these other bottles, they are heavy, they are thick, they are substantial, and if you take care of them, they should last forever. But if you want to recycle them, if you want to get a different fragrance, if you want to get, you're out of it and you want to get another one and you want to send it back to us, we're working on how that's going to work into a point system where if you return that, we'll give you points or reward points that you can use off future purchases. We're doing something great. We're recycling the bottles. Either if they're in great condition, we can clean them, reuse them, or we can recycle them ourselves. We're just working on the logistics on that because you got to play out every scenario. We don't want people sending back broken bottles that are, who knows where they got them. We just want to make sure that it's fair and it makes sense and it benefits everybody, including the environment, before we announce something like that. We just decided, in the beginning, we're not going to make this a decant bottle that screw off. You can take the atomizer off because, and I have nothing against people being entrepreneurial and doing their own decants and stuff, but we really lose a lot of control and reliability with the brand when people are putting out whatever. I had people messaging saying, "Hey, this didn't smell anything." I'm like, "Where did you get it?" I have no idea where you got this. You got it off some Facebook, fan page or chat site or fragrance page. And, I can't say to anything on that. I don't know where you got it. I don't know what's in it. It might be another fragrance. It might be diluted. So again, I have nothing against people being entrepreneurial and getting the sampling out there, but we have a sample pack on the website, and I think it's reasonably priced for a reason, so that you can get it from the official webpage or one of our distribution partners or boutiques that we work with. It's definitely attainable if you want to get into this type of fragrance, and this, at this price point, I think it's very fair and it's safer. But we are working on the recyclable aspect of it. It just has to be something that we play out everything, because everything does happen in every scenario. I do want to show you too. We do make small batches. So for people out there that think everything is mass produced and then it's just fulfilled for me, no, we do the overwrapping here, we do the packaging here, we do the crimping here, we do it all in house. So it's not something where we have a huge stockpile inventory sitting over here. It's not done like that with Argos. And a positive thing too is we do have control of who we partner with and who our distributors are. It's not like we have stuff out there floating in the gray market that's official. So here's an example of this is Danier as a small batch. So that's 10,000 ml. So if you do the math, that's 100 bottles.
You can just send that to me.
Yeah, you can do some weightlifting and get shape lifting this all day. But the point is, we produce things small batch. I think the most we've ever made at one time was 250 pounds, which, if you're working and comparing with the bigger brands out, that's nothing. They're making thousands of pounds at a time. So it helps me with the control, also what I'm putting out there. That's why when people ask about the color of the juice, for example, with the Triumph of Bacchus, which is the most notable, it's all about timing. You know, we got into a situation last year where Triumph of Bacchus, I couldn't keep it in stock. I had to I had one thing, at one point, I think I had 8 of these things blending, just going in various stages. And we have them timed, we check off the date, we make sure that it hits a certain date. And that's one thing with Danier and everything moving forward, the maceration and the blending process and the time that we give it before it's even released is such a big part of it that I don't know if a lot of people really talk about that, but for us, it's very important.
Now you mentioned brick and mortar stores. Which stores are you sold at besides online on your site?
Yeah. You know, surprisingly, the United States, we're not in that many boutiques. And I attribute that mostly to COVID, you know, some of the boutiques not being able to be open. And also they've got inventory from 2019. They're still trying to, you know, sell. So I understand the times. Plus they got to compete with me in the United States. Let's just face it. A lot of the boutiques are selling, you know, European brands or Middle Eastern brands for a reason, because those brands need a distribution outlet here in the States. So they're able to get really great coefficients and really cheap prices for European and Middle Eastern brands so that they can make their margin. I totally get it. But I am available here in Dallas, Texas at the Scent Room, which is in West Village. It's a nice upscale area. So we do have the full line there at the Scent Room. We have Dior in Glendale, Dior Prestige in California. We were in Saks Fifth Avenue. We pulled out right before COVID, which was a good move. But we have distribution partners all over the world. And, you know, in Nigeria, we have Cindy Signature, and they've got a network over there that's amazing. We're constantly selling out of the Argos fragrances. I'm constantly sending them packages. It was one of those things. I got an email, and I was like, "Who's trying to scam me for money in Africa?" You know, my rich uncle. I send them 20,000, and I thought it was going to be something like that. But you know, it was one of the easiest and greatest partnerships and quickest partnerships. They had already purchased the full line from me before and had it shipped to a freight forwarder and over to Nigeria. And you know, I love that. I love that they it wasn't them just messaging me, say, "Hey, send me a free bottle or send me the full line for free and we'll think about it." You know, they researched it on their own. I really respect that. I really love the partnership with Cindy. They're at the Oriental Hotel in Lekki, Lagos, Nigeria. I know some people from the community are going to go out there for their 1-year anniversary. Hopefully I can do a little live something for them. I wasn't able to make it out there to Nigeria because I'm busy getting this Danier one ready. But, you know, Silk distribution in Benelux, Luxembourg, Denmark, Germany. You know, we've got a lot of partners around the world, and we got new ones too that we're working on. It just it needs to make sense. I'm thinking hopefully too, when things settle down and become more stable, of opening a boutique somewhere in Asia, either Singapore, Vietnam, another one in Europe, maybe Italy, in the UK, and then opening up an official Argos one here in the United States too. But we'll see. We'll see how things are able to do. I got lucked out that I didn't have any of these, you know, boutiques open right before COVID, and then have to pay a lease and not even be able to use it.
Yeah.
So timing's everything. We'll get there. One thing is we're always improving. We're always getting better. We've got great stuff coming out where the technology is improving. The fragrances are getting better. The stories are great. So the future is awesome. I don't know if I'm going to make it to Essence this year. Again, we put a lot of money into it back in 2020. 2020, and for it not to happen, it was a nightmare trying to get the money back.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a lot of money. It's a big investment. Maybe at the end of this year, I know I'll be in Dubai at some point, and hopefully work on a partnership out in the Middle East as well.
We've got another question from Abdel that says, "How do you know when a composition is complete?"
Well, when it's complete, it has to go through several months of stability and macerating and blending, and we you know, just a lot of people don't know a fragrance will change over time, and you can't just put it out right away. You know, at first it has to just be an instant love. You know, when I find a formulation that I just love, but then that doesn't end there. It has to go through at least 3, 4, 6 more months of blending, macerating, and maturing just so I can see what the color is, what notes kind of get subdued, which ones come to the forefront, because you don't know just because you've got a fragrance that smells great and you just blended it and you just got a formulation that it's going to be what it is 3 months down, 4 months down, and you don't want to put something out that's going to change drastically from where you intended it to be. So when I say it takes 2 years, it does take 2 years to really get a fragrance that I feel is ready for the public.
See, I got another question too. I don't know if I understood the question. It says, how do you know if a perfume is made high quality versus what we are seeing today? So I guess there's,
for me, there's lots of indicators. You get some of the alcohol smell right off the top. Even the alcohol that we use is a very expensive high grade alcohol. There's different kinds of alcohol, different grades. So if you're getting a big blast of alcohol, you're probably getting shortchanged on some of the oil and some of the actual juice that you're paying for a cheaper, more diluted version. There's different levels. Obviously, you can talk about eau de toilette, parfum, eau de parfum. So there's different levels of concentration. So know the concentration. If you're getting something that smells like alcohol, you probably get shortchanged on the oil or the concentration. The color, sometimes if it's a clear color, obviously that can be an indicator as well that you're not getting some of those high quality oils in there. For me personally, I don't use a lot of the iso Ambermax and Broxin. I feel like and this is just me, it's kind of a comp out with the formulation. You can cover up a lot of things with Ambroxan. You can cover up a lot of things with some of these ingredients. And to me, you're never going to get that with an Argos fragrance. You're never going to get a huge blast of alcohol. You're never going to get an Ambroxan bomb. To me, that's just, I hope I didn't. So again, for me, I look for the concentration. I look for the color, the alcohol smell. If something's a little skunky, unless it was intended to be that way, which some of these brands, they're putting out stuff that it's unique smelling, but maybe it's not the greatest to smell around other people. And that's another thing that I don't think I would put out there personally. I've smelled a lot of interesting fragrances, a lot of them. But if it's something that I don't think that other people are going to enjoy me wearing, I'm not going to put it out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of indicators, really. Price point can be an indicator. And I think just to start with that, before I go on, is a good place to start. So just know the concentration. If it's eau de toilette, all the way up to parfum or eau de parfum. So when I say eau de parfum, you're getting somewhere around that 20% oil to alcohol range. Sometimes we go a little higher, but we never, for any of my fragrances, we never did below 20.
So you have a really great nose, and these seem to be really these seem to be really great. That's right. Which I don't know if some people know, but you're one of the models. You're actually one of the models for your line as well. So I don't know if some people know that, but you can find some really ripped pictures of you on your website.
Yeah, in a former life, I did a lot of bodybuilding and I did some shows, and that was a former life. Maybe I can get back into that someday soon.
But what I was going at is you obviously have a great nose. These are really well blended. I think they smell fantastic. How did you get into the perfume realm to start with?
Yeah. I think some people are just inherently, they just have great sense of smell. Some people don't smell anything at all. And I find that very interesting, especially with COVID lately, people losing their sense of smell or taste, and, how that all relates and everything. I've always been into fragrance. Since I was little, I was smelling things, and it was just an interesting thing for me. And as some of you may know, we remember approximately 35% of what we smell, and as far as memory goes, versus what we see, about maybe 4 or 5% based on what we see as it triggers a memory. So it is one of our more carnal, primordial senses. It's one of our stronger senses. I really got into it because of the modeling and being in the fashion industry for 20 years. It was one of those things that, I was doing a lot of commercial ads, some video ads, and I was able to shoot for a fragrance ad. And then somebody contacted me about producing a custom bespoke fragrance for themselves. And from one of my contacts, I actually have a really close friend that makes fragrances, and his family's done it for 50 years, 50 plus years. So I was able to, get into it that way and work with him on my first creation. So it was definitely a unique situation, but having that advantage of being in the fashion industry and working in modeling and just all that subliminal stuff, being on the other side of the camera, you always knew what they were going for, what they were trying to sell, or what they were trying to promote. And I think that's a great advantage going into creating your own brand and a fragrance brand, is to be able to say a lot of things without saying anything at all. That's one of the challenges with a fragrance line, is to be able to sell something high quality and luxury and niche all over the world without them even having to smell it. So that it's a huge advantage marketing wise and promotion wise, not just having beautiful bottles and everything, but it all has to come from somewhere, a concept in your head, before it actually is on paper and then 3D printed and then produced. And it's expensive. So I think the modeling and the acting and being in the fashion was just, I can't stress how important that was getting into the fragrance business, and just the contacts too. It's not an easy thing. I know there's a lot of brands out there, and there's a lot of places where you can go and they'll send you some fragrances and you pick one out, and you kind of just go about it that way. And some of the other brands too, they'll get versions that weren't actually picked up or mass produced. And I guess if you want to do that, you can. We'll see how well that goes. But if you want to create something that's going to be a long-lasting brand, you really have to have a great story. You really have to have beautiful fragrances, a beautiful bottle. People, they're smart. They might get suckered into buying a bottle or a fragrance here, but if you don't create something that's beautiful on the inside and out, and has a great story and has a great theme and really connects with them on another level, it's not going to be a brand that's going to be around for very long. And we're just getting started. So
now, are there any brands or maybe fragrances from brands that you've always looked up to or really liked?
No. Not really. And people ask me, that was one of the things too, when I got into doing this myself. I don't smell other fragrances, other fragrance houses. I find that it kind of pollutes my sense of what I want to do and what I want to create. I don't want to ever think that, hey, this is something that reminds me of something else. I don't want to have that in the back of my mind playing tricks with me. So I don't really smell other people's fragrances. Now, I have some from George Sarhoff. I like. He's actually one of the few, fragrance companies or brand owners that's reached out to me. It's pretty small. It's not. We're pretty small as far as the community of perfumers and the brands, that we don't really do a whole lot of interacting with each other. I think we kind of all do our own thing. But I have talked with George a few times, and I do have several of his bottles. I love the aesthetics. I love the stories. That's one of the things that I do check out with other brands. I check out their Instagram. I see what they're promoting, what it is they're trying to convey, and how they're connecting with their consumers. There's a couple that I like the aesthetic of the bottle, or I might like some of the story. I love Merchant of Venice, their bottles. I really love it. And I've never smelled any of their stuff, and I don't know if I ever will. Maybe when I get out of this or whatever, I'll smell some of theirs. But I really love the aesthetic of theirs, and I love the story of theirs. There's a few others, but I can't really mention them because I've never smelled anything that they've created. Even Parfums de Marly. I've been to a couple of events and I've had their bottles side by side with mine, and I don't smell other people's creations.
Now, this is a completely different question, but this is one that I was thinking of earlier. One thing that I've always been really impressed with is that you guys have a great social media presence. Like, it's some of the best. And it's, every single day you're posting something, and you also have a lot of experience collaborating with other social media influencers in a really good way. And I don't think I really hear that many negative things about it. Like it seems like it's a really organic process. I was wondering what you thought about social media in general and how you work with influencers and that type of thing.
Yeah. It's a blessing, really. It is. End of the day, it's a blessing. I don't know if we'd be here if we didn't have social media. So I approach it with that kind of a respect, first and foremost, and we understand that this is your time as well. It's like me creating a fragrance. You're creating content, and that takes creativity, and it takes time, and you're hooking up computers and microphones, and it all has value. So we definitely approach everything with a sense of value to it. But the brand grows, and if we can go with the imagery first, I'll talk about that. There's obviously a certain aesthetic that we want to maintain. If you look at the Instagram wall, you've got the 3 columns, and we understand the basics of that. And we understand the type of imagery that we want out there. You're not going to see a lot of bikini or nude models or anything promoting our brand, because it's just not our brand. And what's great now is it's organic. We're getting content in constantly from people that are purchasing the product, and they're using it, or they've got it as a gift, and it's just rolling. We have so much content now, it's kind of hard to sort through with what we want to put out. And we don't want to hurt certain people's feelings too, because like, how come we didn't repost that, or how come you didn't do this? Well, we can't there's only so many images that we can put out. We actually cut back on what we posted on the Instagram wall, just because we were having a hard time keeping up with the orders. But we try to put the stories out. We try to keep the ball rolling and keep people interested, because you have to, with the algorithms and everything else. Plus, there's a lot that we want to say, and a lot that we want to get back. We want to say thank you for purchasing it, reposting that picture, and give credit to that person or that customer or that influencer. So yeah, it's very important. Like I said, I don't think we'd be here today if we didn't. We do have an aesthetic that we try to uphold, and we want to work with new influencers in the future, but we really like some of the ones that we've been in communication with. And we can't work with everybody. It's just not enough time in the day, logistics wise, and you don't need to be putting something out every day anyways. If you've got a new release or a new announcement, then you do things like this. And it makes sense. And I think this has been a long time coming. I think you and I could probably talk about Greek mythology and Roman mythology alone for hours. But, it's like I said, just bottom line, it's a necessity. We love it. We respect it. We like the people that purchase our products, take photos, take the time to set up. It's so cool to see what other people create without even being influenced by us or telling us to do it. And if we do work with a partner, we typically just make a blank statement. Here it is. Here's a backstory. If you love it, say you love it. If you don't love it, just say whatever you want, and then, if they come back and say, hey, okay, well, give me something, okay, talk about the new atomizer, talk about the shape of the bottle, talk about the story behind it. We could go all day about that, but it's really about how it makes you feel, what piques your interest about it. And, we just go on from there. So it is pretty much an easy process working with us, because we don't have a lot of demands typically. We just like it to be creative and organic, fun for everybody. We don't send out contracts and say you have to post this many and you have to say this word and this word. I don't want it to be like that.
Yeah. I think one of the things that, from my perspective, because of course you guys have sent me these for review. And one of the things that I've just really appreciated is that I don't have to make anything up. Everything that I say, I don't have to keep saying it. If I wanted to just do one and done, I could have. But I genuinely think that everything that you've made is exceptional. And I really want more people to try these products, because I think that they're just beautiful. And I said recently in one of my videos like the bottles, I would buy these empty.
Yeah.
Like these bottles are great. And then the scents themselves are
We're just
amazing.
getting started with some of the creativity that's going to go into these bottles. Like I touched on with the hand painted soft enamels, the crystals that we're putting in it. It's not just as a gimmick. You see a lot of bottles on there that just crystalled out, blinged out. It's not, if it doesn't match the story and the theme of the brand and the aesthetic, it's not going to go in there. We don't want to put anything extra in there anytime. It has to flow with the brand and the story. But we are going to keep improving. This is really, this round that we're going into with the artist line and the Hercules line, it's really only our third kind of introduction into the market. We obviously had the Pour Homme pour Femme and the three last year with the Italian line and going forward. So we're still pretty much in our infancy, but the creativity should never stop. The artwork will always change with every new fragrance. You're not going to get the same, and it's not a sticker. Everything's quality. These are metal plates. It's hand polished glass. The sticker on the inside that tells you what it is it's a special metallic sticker that doesn't get waterlogged, so we can adhere it in there. It's not going to run. And there's a purpose for everything that's part of it. You're not going to get a lot of stuff that's not meant to be. Even the artwork on the boxes, there's going to be stories that, and I purposely putting things in there, and you'll see that will play out in years to come with future releases.
That's cool. One question about the Hercules line. Maybe you don't want to talk too much about details just yet, but
sure.
Is that one going to be unisex as well, or is that just a masculine line?
Yeah, and that I thought about that when I was creating the concept behind the Hercules line. Is how are some of these stories going to play out? And I'm not one that has to have everything unisex. I don't mind saying that this was created for a man or someone, that this is masculine leaning. And if you're a woman who likes that, I've had actually women comment on the Bravita della Caccia, how they look and they wear it. And I was like, that wasn't what it was intended for. But everybody's tastes are different, and some people have been into niche perfumery for years, and they can respect and enjoy something like the Bravita della Caccia, for what it is. So with the Hercules line, with that being said, it's more about the story versus the gender. Obviously the first labor in the 12 labors of Hercules was the Nemean lion, so that one's going to definitely be a leather-based fragrance. But it's and I can tell you a little bit. I wanted to take people to the Sahara where you would see a lion. So it's going to be something that's dry and arid, but leathery, but something that's definitely wearable. Like I said, I don't want to make fragrances that are just unique in their own right that you can't really enjoy out in public or wear. And I don't want to make situational fragrances that are like so specific that you can only wear between 5 and 6 on a Saturday, and the weather has to be, and the humidity, and you got to check everything. I don't want to put myself into a corner like that. I like fragrances that you can wear, people can enjoy them on you as well. So they're not all going to be masculine, they're not all going to be feminine. I do have another one with the Gustav Kimlet line for the artist series. It's going to be feminine leaning, and that one's going to be called Pallas Athene. So that one's going to be like an assertive, strong, feminine fragrance. And some men might enjoy it as well, just like the Pour Femme. But that wasn't in my mind, the intention. But I don't mind saying something's masculine or feminine leaning, because we all have our own personal preferences. I think what differentiates me is it's created based on the story. I never create something just for a specific gender. It has to. If you don't feel like you can relate to the story at some point, then I probably haven't succeeded in what I was trying to do.
Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to a lot of the future releases. I don't know that much about them other than what you just told me, but the whole Hercules line sounds incredible. I love the mythology behind Pallas Athena, so I'm actually really curious about that now.
Yeah. And the story, the story and the meaning behind it, just like when Gustav Kimlet was creating the artworks, there was a lot of things going on in his time and his mind and with the groups that he was working with, and art, in itself, where he was, and the new movement versus the old movement. I feel like this is kind of the new movement with fragrance, with what I'm creating, versus some of these houses that have been established and been around for decades and hundreds of years. I want to maintain something that's timeless, but I also want to kind of bring it into the forefront as well, bring it up to speed with where we are now, with some of the technology and some of the things that I'm creating and the aesthetics of everything as well. So it's kind of melding the old world and the new world together, but still making something that's substantial and timeless and meaningful. Keeping it simple, but keeping it meaningful and purposeful and significant.
Well, it's been a little over an hour, and it's been a great conversation. I know, like like you were saying, we could probably spend another 2 hours talking about mythology and
Yeah.
all that. I don't want
That's
to keep
what
up
I
your.
tell people when we do these. You're gonna have to cut me off.
Yeah, that's a great problem to have. So I really appreciate you coming on, and it's been really great to have you. There was a comment that said, "Now, what's the discount code?"
Just cut right to the chase. I don't know if you have one, but you could probably post that off air or DM them or something. But
yeah,
we don't do a lot of publicly announced discounts. We respect our distributors, our boutiques, and we keep a tight grip on the price point and everything that we do. So that's meant to be a reward for those people that have been patrons of us or been following us from the beginning. So we don't announce those publicly very often. So pay attention to the newsletter, subscribe if you haven't purchased anything and you're interested in the brand and what we have to offer in the future releases. You can always subscribe so that you're in the know. Follow Fragrance Bros and some of the other people that we work with as well. We're going to have more of these coming. I've been so busy trying to get everything ready. I don't do a ton of these, but obviously you can reach out to Dave for a code, or he can announce that privately.
And like he was saying too, there's also the sample pack that you can get the sample pack, try stuff out, and then you get kind of like a rebate back whenever you buy a bottle.
Yeah.
So that's really
if you buy one of our sample packs, you can always get that basically free if you decide to make a purchase. So we take a lot of the risk away, and we understand it. We're a luxury niche brand, and it's not cheap. But again, it's not cheap for us. The creation process, it's time consuming. I've had people tell me, "Oh, it only costs $3 to make a bottle." Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. You've never created a brand. Everything, like I said, has value. We have SEO, we have a webmaster, we have shipping, logistics. There's so much that goes into it. And when you divide, say you make 10,000 bottles, that all goes into the cost of it. So nothing's free. But we try to understand that, this is luxury niche, and, we try to have that sample pack available for a reason.
Yeah. This is the best 23 cents I've ever smelled. Just joking.
I
hate it when people say that. It drives me crazy. Anyway, I really appreciate having you on, Christian. It's been an absolute honor and a pleasure. And like I told everyone, definitely go try out his line. I really think it's just one of the best lines out there. One of my favorites in just the aesthetic, the smells, the performance, everything. You've got to try it. It's really accessible. Like he was saying, they have sample packs, and you'll want to give these to your kids one day. Whenever you pass on, you'll inherit them to your kids. I think that's what I'll do. Yeah. But anyway, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave. Everybody check out Fragrance Bros on Instagram, on YouTube. I think he'll make this video. In case you came in at the end, I think he'll make this available later so you can watch the thing in its entirety. Definitely check us out at argos.com or on Instagram and see what things we're coming out with next.
Absolutely. Definitely go check them out. Thank you so much, Christian.
Thank you, Dave. Have a great day.
You too.